I think you always divide the season in 3 or 4 segments, and this being the postseason, and there's an opportunity for us to win the Big Ten tournament championship, and that's always something you set as a goal. First one is, finishing as good as possible in the non-conference and positioning yourself, preparing yourself for what's coming in the conference play, and then obviously the regular season. We needed some help coming down the stretch. That didn't happen for anybody, let alone us, in terms of trying to catch Indiana. And congrats to Tom and that group for how they performed and stayed consistent, and really played well yesterday too against Maryland. But and then obviously you get into the postseason, and we're in a position where we have a chance for a conference or a tournament championship. You go after that, and then you go on to the next step in terms of the NCAA tournament. So I don't think our goals have ever changed. That's always been the pattern and the formula we've had here. In terms of trying to win a regular season first, and then you go step by step. You try to mix up the steps or jump one step ahead of where you are, you end up with nothing, really. And you've heard me talk about process a lot, and that's very important. This is why that applies to this scenario as well.
You guys always take it one game at a time, but now when you get to the postseason where it's one game and you're done, how much does that change mindset at all, if at all?
It can't change your mindset. I think if you try to make it something, different than what it is, we understand it's possession by possession. And I think I keep using the process. I probably overused it. But is there a counter on how many times I say process? Process. How many times I've said it. I think while you stick to that, we have that approach of taking it day by day. That helps us too as we prepare. And we'll prepare, starting tomorrow for Rutgers, and then we'll use Wednesday to use as Nebraska Day, and understand that we've been talking about that for over a week now. It's March, and it's that point in time where you have to be very consistent or you're going to go home. And they understand that. They know. These guys have played even the freshmen have played in high school tournaments, prep school tournaments, in Alex's case. And in Jordan Hill's case, they understand what's at stake. I don't think we have to make it any bigger than what it is.
Greg, a lot of people, including some of your colleagues, are talking about this tournament as a real free-for-all with 6, 7, 8 teams that are all pretty equal. How do you view this conference tournament?
Well, I think you've got 3 teams specifically that are playing really well, and we saw one of them last night. I thought that going before last night, I thought that they had looked like they were in sync. Like I thought they would maybe be most of the year. And they were, really, until I think Notre Dame beat them, or they lost. Butler beat them, right, in the non-conference. Between Purdue, Indiana, and Michigan State, I think 3 that are really hitting on all cylinders right now and hitting a stride. The rest of us, obviously, it's obviously one game at a time. You never know what can happen in terms of foul trouble. Somebody gets hurt, somebody sprains an ankle. I mean, it's tournament sometimes, not so much in the conference tournament because you know the matchups, and it's unlike the NCAA tournament in terms of matchups are so key. We know how we match up with some teams and how we don't match up as well with other teams. But you look at who's playing really well, and I think those 3, in my mind, looking across the board, are playing at a high level, more consistent level than anybody else right now, and I think we're in that mix as well. I still don't think we've played as well for as long as what we're capable of. I think the closest we came was at Maryland, on both ends of the floor, but I think we have a lot of room to grow, and hopefully we have a lot of games yet in which to grow in that part.
First time playing on Thursday in the conference tournament since 2000. How does that change this week, besides maybe getting there a day earlier?
Yeah, we'll use Tuesday, Wednesday prep for each team, and then leave Wednesday night, and you added one more game to the mix. So, I was asked yesterday in my press conference at Purdue about the impact of 14 teams in the league and not a true round robin, and how Purdue had tied with Iowa and with us and with Maryland, and how Iowa could be seated below them, yet Purdue lost twice to Iowa, and the perceived inequities of not playing a complete round robin, and that's what happens when you have that type of imbalance in terms of who you're playing twice, who you're playing once. You look at our schedule, who we played twice. It's pretty obvious. I don't have to recite the schedule for you. You can see that on your own. But I don't think it changes anything. It's still one game at a time. We just added one more task in order to get to Sunday.